Today, we're jumping into a really powerful framework for spiritual growth, and it all comes from a teaching by Apostle Joshua Selman. It's built around one single fascinating question, and then it gives us 5 specific platforms designed to answer it. So let's get right into it.
So let's kick things off with the big question that this whole teaching is based on. Have you ever looked around and wondered this yourself? You can have 2 people, same beliefs, they go to the same church, maybe they even pray for the same amount of time, but their lives, their impact, their results, they're just worlds apart. One person seems to be walking in incredible possibilities, while the other just seems to be struggling. So what's the variable? What is the real difference maker?
And right here, this is the core concept that answers our question. The teaching says that the defining factor isn't just what you believe, but it's the weight of glory that a person carries. And that's a wild idea, right? The idea that God's presence actually has substance, a measure, a weight. This isn't about God loving one person more than another. No, it's about one person having intentionally cultivated a greater capacity to host His presence.
Okay, so just so we're all on the same page, what are we even talking about when we say glory? Well, the sermon defines it very, very clearly. This is not some vague, mystical idea. It's the tangible, manifested presence of God. And this is the crucial part. It includes all the incredible resources, like wisdom, power, and favor that come packaged with that presence.
Now, here's what's so cool about this whole idea. The teaching doesn't just leave it up to chance. It says this weight of glory isn't random. Nope, it can be intentionally built. And it lays out 5 specific platforms, 5 areas you can focus on that a person can step onto to literally increase their capacity to host this glory. So let's break them down one by one.
All right, platform number 1 is prayer. But listen, it's a very specific kind of prayer. This is not about coming to God with your long list of wants and needs. It's about using prayer as a tool for intimacy, for fellowship, for just getting to know God. It's a total shift in the entire purpose of prayer.
And this analogy just illustrates the difference perfectly. So many people approach prayer like it's a shopping basket. They go into God's presence, they grab all the blessings they need, a little healing here, some finances there, some favor, and then they leave. But this framework suggests we should see prayer like an access card. It's not just about getting what's in the store. It's about building a real relationship with the owner of the store. One approach gets you things, sure, but the other gets you Him, and with Him comes everything else.
Now let's move on to the second platform, which builds on the first, the disciplined study of Scripture. And the source really emphasizes that this is not about casual reading. This is a deliberate, focused act of beholding who God is, His nature, His ways, as they're revealed in His Word.
This quote from the sermon just captures the whole idea perfectly. You see, the person writing this isn't just reading the words, they're meditating on them. They're internalizing Scripture to the point where it becomes the actual source of their wisdom, their understanding. It's presented as a direct pathway to getting a heavenly perspective on things.
So, what does this kind of discipline actually look like in practice? Well, the teaching is clear. Unlike prayer, which you can do on the move, true study requires you to sit down and really focus. It's how you build a solid doctrinal foundation so that your faith isn't easily shaken. And the core principle here is transformation. As you behold God and His Word, you are literally changed into that same image, moving from one level of glory to the next.
Platform number 3 is authentic worship. And here, the focus shifts to the power of sound, of melody, of singing not just as an emotional outlet, but as a kind of spiritual technology that actually attracts the presence of God.
Now, this is a fascinating idea. The teaching says that music is a language the Spirit understands. So when authentic worship is happening, it's not just making a nice sound. No, it's a language that cuts right through the physical world and directly changes the spiritual atmosphere, making it the perfect environment for God's glory to show up.
And we see a powerful example of this right here in Scripture. When the musicians and the singers at the temple dedication were totally unified in their worship, it says they were as one. The result wasn't just a great concert. No, the tangible, visible glory of God, described as a cloud, filled the entire house. It was so intense that the priests couldn't even stand up to do their jobs. That's a direct link between authentic worship and a heavy manifestation of glory.
The last 2 platforms, obedience and sacrifice, are really deeply connected. The teaching frames them as the non-negotiables, the cost of hosting God's presence. These are the active and, let's be honest, often difficult choices that are required to prepare a space for His glory to dwell.
And this table just lays it out so clearly. For obedience, the principle is that glory follows a divine pattern. Think about Moses. He was told to build the tabernacle exactly as he was instructed, and it was only when he finished the work in complete, radical obedience that the glory finally came down. And for sacrifice, the principle is that glory fills a place where a sacrifice has been made and accepted. When Solomon offered that massive sacrifice at the temple, fire came down from heaven to consume it, and then the glory filled the house. So you see, both obedience and sacrifice act as powerful triggers for the glory of God.
So, let's put it all together. Here they are, the 5 platforms that create this complete framework for increasing the weight of glory in your life. First, you move beyond just requests into intimate prayer. Then there's disciplined word study. You engage in authentic worship as a spiritual language. You commit to radical obedience to God's pattern. And finally, you live a life of willing sacrifice.
And that brings us to our final thought for today. You see, the source material presents these not as abstract theories, but as actionable platforms. It suggests that spiritual growth and real impact aren't a mystery, but they are the result of intentionally engaging with these principles. So the question it leaves us with is this: if glory truly has weight, and these are the platforms to build it, which one needs your attention right now? Which one would you step on first?